Hello and welcome back to NSUSpartans.com, fueled by Gatorade and the Spartan Sports Zone, as today we recap Homecoming 2013.
We'll also get you all set for basketball as well. The men have high expectations again this year for interim head coach Robert Jones and will look to stay at the top of the pack in the MEAC.
And finally, the women will put their youth to the test this season and try to surprise the conference. We'll also talk volleyball and so much more on this edition of the Spartan Sports Zone, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome back to the Spartan Sports Zone. I'm Ross Gordon, the play-by-play voice of the Spartan, joined by Assistant Sports Information Director Mike Bello and Sports Information Assistant Chandrea Lee. It's a huge show today, and we'll start quickly by recapping the homecoming game for the Spartans as NSU fell to FAMU 16-6 in a defensive struggle. The Spartan defense gave up 253 yards and only 72 yards passing to the preseason co-offensive player of the year, Damian Fleming. Fleming did keep the Spartans off guard, running for 74 yards and a score, and James Owens also ran for 89 yards and a score. As good as the Spartans' defense was, the Rattlers' D was also up for the challenge, only surrendering 217 yards and making it difficult for all three of the Spartan quarterbacks, who threw for 66 yards on the day. NSU was led by running back Deuce Finch as he ran for 151 yards on the afternoon. The lone score for NSU was a defensive score by Lyndon Trail, who also had 4 tackles and a half a sack. The Spartans get back on the road this week as they travel to Daytona Beach, Florida to take on the reigning MEAC champs and undefeated conference-leading Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Game time is at 4 p.m.
It was a disappointing senior night for the Norfolk State volleyball team as the Spartans had the early lead on Howard before giving it away at the end. NSU won the first 2 sets at Gill Gymnasium 25-19 and 25-22, but it was all Howard after that as the Bison stormed back to win the last 3 sets 25-22, 25-20, and 15-11. NSU had 4 players in double figures in kills, led by senior Goda Yanko-Skata with 17 and sophomore Angie Darkus with 14. The loss sets up a do-or-die weekend for the Spartans, who must now defeat UMES on Thursday and Delaware State on Sunday on the road, and then hope for Howard to knock off Morgan State and Coppin State this weekend as well. Head coach Brandon Duvall knows it's put up or shut up time for his squad.
This week, we just got to get the job done. You know, right now it's crunch time, and at this time of year it normally is because it's the last couple matches of the season. But this year it's especially tough because we're relying on other people to get their job done for us to solidify our opportunity to play in the MEACs. You know, I had to tell the girls there's a good chance that we could have a winning record in the MEAC and still not make the tournament. That's how difficult the North is this year. So.
NSU currently sits at 5-5 in the MEAC Northern Division, with Coppin State and Morgan State in a tie for 3rd at 7-4. You can follow the live stats for the UMES match at umeshawks.com and the Delaware State match at dsuhornets.com.
For this week's edition of Know Your Fellow Spartan, we decided to go a different direction and pair up 2 people who have known each other since birth, Cameron and Conley Smith of the football team. For more with the Smith twins, here's Chandrea Lee.
Welcome to this week's edition of Know Your Fellow Spartans. This week's edition features brothers Conley Smith and Cameron Smith. And we'll start with you, Conley. If you could meet anyone famous that's not an athlete, who do you think your brother would choose?
George W. Bush. I have no idea.
George Bush for you?
Wrong.
Abe Lincoln.
I was close to his president.
Cameron, who do you think your brother would choose?
George W. Bush.
George Bush?
No.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, okay.
The Man in Black.
Cameron, we'll start with you. Who is Conley's celebrity crush? And it can be only an athlete.
Probably some CrossFit girl. I don't know. I'm going to say Ronda Rousey.
What? Who is that?
She's the UFC fighter.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh.
Hope Solo.
I hope so. All right.
Conley, who do you think Cameron would pick?
Wait, what's the question?
Celebrity crush, athlete only.
Maybe like a Eagles cheerleader. I don't know like names.
Cameron?
No, Ronda Rousey.
So far, the score is 0-0.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Conley. What's Cameron's favorite NFL team?
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Eagles. Finally on the board.
Yeah.
Cameron, who's Conley's favorite NFL team?
The Eagles.
Eagles?
Yeah.
For the complete episode of Know Your Fellow Spartan, check back at our YouTube page, youtube.com/NSU Athletics, later this week. Coming up after the break, we'll dive headfirst into basketball as the 2013-14 season kicks off this week for both the men and the women. All that plus more coming up on the Spartan Sports Zone. Secure your future by getting a top-notch education only at Norfolk State University. With world-class faculty and facilities, a bustling campus life, and highly regarded programs in the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology and the School of Business, Norfolk State is one of Virginia's leaders in higher education. Founded in 1935 as a beacon of hope to the region's youth, more than 78 years later, the university remains a source of inspiration for those in the Hampton Roads region and beyond who aspire to fulfill their dreams. A military-friendly school in one of the largest military areas of the world, Norfolk State University is home to faculty researchers who have forged partnerships that have created cutting-edge virtual learning environments. With more than 30,000 alumni, Norfolk State has played a vital role in our community in the past and is serving in a critical role today, and will continue to be an academic leader in the future. Find out more at nsu.edu. Norfolk State University, infinite possibilities. Welcome back to the Spartan Sports Zone. It's that time of year again as basketball season is finally here. The Norfolk State men's team has been itching to get back on the court after a disappointing loss in the quarterfinals of the MEAC tournament. A lot has changed, but a lot has stayed the same for the Spartans, and of course the biggest change was the elevation of Robert Jones to the head coaching position. Jones and associate head coach Larry Vickers are back, with two new assistant coaches, Kevin Deventier and Raru Archer, now in the fold. Jones, for one, has been quick to make his mark on the program.
X and O's wise, we're just trying to change, hopefully be able to play a little faster. Culturally, we're just trying to, add a little bit more discipline and, extend our community outreach a little bit.
The Spartans have a big encore waiting for them after finishing last year 16-0 in the conference, becoming just the fourth ever MEAC school to go undefeated. NSU only lost 4 seniors, including 1 starter in Rob Johnson and just 1 regular reserve player off the bench in Chris Brown. The Spartans added 4 newcomers, and with already a deep bench returning, it has become an intense battle for playing time.
It creates a competitive atmosphere, I think, and it pushes guys every day. That every day in practice you can't have a practice off or slack, because you know that your spot could possibly be taken by the next guy, because everyone is pretty close in skill level.
One big change fans will see is the emphasis on offense and the team pushing the tempo much more this year rather than falling back into half-court offense. The Spartans were picked to finish first in the MEAC preseason poll with 14 of the 26 first-place votes. Now for more on the players themselves, here's Mike Bello.
Thanks, Ross. The Spartans have 8 seniors among the 14 players on the fall roster, but none is more important than senior Pendarvis Williams. The MEAC preseason player of the year, Williams anchors the backcourt for NSU, both with his shooting and his ability to handle the point guard position. Senior wing Malcolm Hawkins and junior point guard Jamel Fuentes also help form a deep guard rotation for NSU. Hawkins scored in double figures last year and is looking to regain his early 2012-13 form and have a more consistent jump shot this year. The coaches are looking for Fuentes to be more of a consistent scorer in addition to being the team's main ball handler. Senior Maurice Phelps will be counted on to give NSU a threat from beyond the arc as well as handle some point guard responsibilities. Having such a deep senior class, which also includes center Brandon Good and transfer wing Anel Alexis, has helped the coaching staff implement their new offensive change a lot easier.
Experience helps, tremendously. A guy like Penny, who's coming back player of the year, and other guys there, it really helps some of the newcomers, get over the learning curve. And with their experience of playing basketball, it helps us implement new ideas and implement them quickly.
Alexis presents a matchup problem as a stretch 3, while senior Jordan Weathers has surprised many with his improved offensive play. The coaches are also high on sophomore Sajay Pryor, who will sit out the fall semester and is a player who can score from multiple positions. Good will anchor the Spartans down in the post, but he will also be joined by sophomore Rasheed Gaston. Gaston had a solid freshman debut last year and is primed to step into the starting forward spot and form a solid 1-2 punch with Good. But two newcomers are expected to do more than just sit on the bench. Forwards Hefeng Sun and Latrell Wassel bring physicality to the court and can score on the offensive side of the ball. Hawkins, Good, and Gaston were each named to the preseason All-MEAC third team. Now for more on how the women's team is shaping up, let's throw it over to Chandrea Lee.
Thanks, Mike. With the return of a key player from injury and the addition of 5 athletic, versatile recruits, the Norfolk State women's basketball team is looking to pick up its pace during the 2013-2014 campaign. With the return of shooting guard Ray Corbo, the Spartans are on track to do just that. Corbo averaged 11.6 points per game as a sophomore 2 years ago, but played just 2 games last year before suffering a season-ending knee injury. Head coach Deborah Clark is excited to have the speedy, offensive-minded redshirt junior back in the lineup.
Well, I think the fact that she's back on the floor, we can really get back into our transition game. I mean, she's one of the people that gets out and scores in transition well. I thought she played really, really strong today. Her confidence is back. She's maybe about 85% as far as her speed and all, but she's going to continue to get better, and I think she's going to be nice and solid for us this year.
Corbo will also have a new running mate in the backcourt as the Spartans lost dependable point guard Rika Trice to graduation. Trice started 98 games in her career and left campus second all-time at NSU in assists. The task of replacing Trice will come down to either junior Jasmine Gray or freshman Kiera Basie. Basie is one of several freshmen that Clark is looking to have an impact on the team this season.
Well, I think overall they're all very, very talented. The biggest thing that we have to worry about now is their youth, and I think they're going to get better as time goes on. We've got players in every position. Kiera Basie, she's going to be a solid point guard. Dominique showed today she's very versatile on the perimeter, shooting the ball, getting to the basket. She's an outstanding defender. Corinne Lawrence, again, a very solid perimeter player. Amber Brown, you see, she plays in the post and she can defend in the perimeter. And then Logan Powell got a slow start today, but she's going to give us some added depth in the post, and as well as her shooting range. She's a post player with a deep shooting range.
NSU will also look for increased scoring from junior wing player Ebony Brown. Brown came on at the end of last season with a pair of 20-point performances down the stretch, including 23 in NSU's MEAC tournament win over Florida A&M. She averaged 7.7 points per game last year and is also a key factor in NSU's defense. The Spartans are also experienced in the post. Senior forward Rachel Gordon is coming off of a second-team All-MEAC season in which she led NSU in scoring and rebounds, averaging 10.6 points and 9.7 rebounds last year.
Well, I think she's done a really great job of improving herself as a basketball player. We told her she's going to have to improve her field goal percentage. She's going to have to make her free throws and defend without foul. And this game tonight and the scrimmage we had last week, she's really shown a lot of growth and improvement. So I'm looking forward to an outstanding year for her.
NSU's reserves in the post are a pair of freshmen, 5'10" Amber Brown and 6' even Logan Powell. Brown, the younger sister of Ebony Brown, is a versatile forward who can play facing the basket on offense but guard bigger players on defense. Powell was a productive high school post player who helped her team win the state championship. The Spartans were picked to finish 11th in the conference in the preseason voting done by the league's head coaches and sports information directors. Senior forward Rachel Gordon was also named to the preseason All-MEAC third team. The women's team will open the regular season on Friday at Morehead State. Tip-off is at noon at Johnson Arena. A live broadcast of the game will be carried by the OVC Digital Network. The OVC Digital Network broadcast is always free of charge with no registration required.
It's now time for this week's top 3 performances. Coming in at number 3 again for the Spartans is senior outside hitter Goda Yanko-Skata. She led NSU with 17 kills and added 3 blocks in the Spartans' 3-2 loss against Howard on senior night. Our number 2 performer has also made numerous appearances here. It's senior running back Deuce Finch. The MEAC's leading rusher was at it again versus Florida A&M on Saturday, carrying the ball 23 times for 151 yards. And our top performer this week is Amber Brown of the women's basketball team. The freshman led all scorers with 19 points in NSU's exhibition win over Virginia Wesleyan on Monday and also added 7 rebounds, proving that this freshman class will be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Thank you for joining us this week, and just as a reminder, you can listen to the football game against Bethune-Cookman live beginning with the pregame show at 3:30 p.m. on WXTG 1490 AM The Game, as well as Hot 91.1 FM.
We can't also forget that women's bowling will be competing in the first MEAC Southern Divisional of the year this weekend. Next week, we'll recap how they did down in Greensboro.
And that will once again do it for this week's edition of the Spartan Sports Zone. As always, we'd like to thank the Department of Video and Media Productions and Chantel Copes for all of their help.
I'm Chandrea Lee.
I'm Mike Bello.
And I'm Ross Gordon. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.